Hey folks, Sophia here. Today I'm going to be talking about Garista ratting in an Ishtar, though it would probably also work for a Vexor. Well, I'll definitely be covering how to do this. This video is mostly going to be aimed at Pandemic Horde members who would typically be ratting in drone lands where the Alliance is currently situated. As such, I'll also be covering why you might want to rat in Garista space rather than drone land space. The advantages and disadvantages of Guristas compared to rogue drones, if you will. PH does have both ESI gated and non-gated space in Geminate, which is home to the Guristas. What this is not, though, is like a super ISK efficiency secret tutorial or anything along those lines. In fact, you'll probably be doing more work for less ISK if you do what I'm doing. However, I do think there's something pleasing about sort of having a home away from home where you can rat and do PI and ship things out for your industry and our industry parks and sort of build up some self-sufficiency. Your own little resource gathering, industrial corner of space that you can kind of develop into your own little base, if you will. Something like that. For those of you who don't know me, I am a very heavily PvP focused player. But within that scope, I also only fly small ships, so like Dictors and Scepters almost exclusively, and then maybe the occasional assault frigate solo roam. The point there is that I have very little overhead costs, and basically somehow, it's almost magic really, I never find myself short on ISK. Like SRP looting a dead space or faction mod off of a T3C or something once a week, it just somehow seems to be enough, I guess. I don't ever do activities that I find boring, in other words. And nothing that I do in EVE is ever something that I treat like a job, something that I sort of have to get done. Like, if I do go out ratting once or twice a month, or exploring, or even dabble a bit in manufacturing, it's because I'm enjoying the variety of activities that EVE has to offer and trying things out. So, like, if I'm doing industry, it's going to be seeding the market, helping out the Alliance at cost, even at a loss. Like, I'm putting in work that I'm not getting efficiently paid for. It's not about making money, just about having fun and enjoying the game. So if you are trying to maximize your income or whatever, then you should probably stick with ratting in drone lands. There are a variety of strategic reasons why PH is located there, but when it comes to ratting, like, drones are great, as in drone rats, but also drone as a weapon system. Drone rats, they don't drop loot and they have poor salvage, so all you need to focus on is killing them. It's very straightforward, simple, nothing else to consider. Just, kill drones, get the bounties. No micro, nothing else, just kill them. The ISK per hour between different factions is fairly well balanced. It's just I find it boring to just kill drones, and I'd rather be salvaging and having to haul material if I am doing ratting, which, as I said, I don't do very often. And in this case, I actually do want some loot and salvage so I can fuel my piddling industry setup. It's not much at all. But yeah, even if it requires more work, I'd rather do that. I just find it more enjoyable. And I'll show you what I do, and you can see if you are interested in it as well. So to actually get started here, let's first look at the sort of core difference between Garista and drone fits. Alright, so if we take a look at sort of like a typical drone lands fit, obviously these highs are for if I get tackled. This is just going to be an offline probe launcher in case I need to scan something down. Right, so drones do omni damage. So that means we need omni resists. So the Ishtar has a big EM hole, so we want to plug that. But even then, we can't really cheese any of the damage types. That is, go all in on one damage type, because the drones are going to be doing all of them. So to deal with all types of damage, what we do instead is fit, instead of just fitting resist rigs or mods, is speed tank it a bit with an afterburner. So this way we can keep up our speed, mitigate all incoming damage, and then we also have sort of even resists to deal with the rest. If you're running a large shield booster here, then you do need to be a little bit more on the ball and kill small things first, because you don't want to get webbed down. I guess I can show you this fit if you'd like. There you go. Again, core probe launcher offline, and the newts are just defensive. This is the sort of the core stuff. And then we'll be doing EM damage to drones. It's their weakest. But yeah, if you're running the large shield booster, that means you can fit some application mods, so your drones get there faster and they can track better. And then if you want to go with an extra large shield booster, which is another option, then you don't have to be as worried about that. You can tank better even if you get webbed down, so if you're a little bit more lazy / AFK-ish, but then you're going to need cap mods. And I can show you this fit as well. So your drones don't move as fast, they don't track quite as well, but you're a lot tankier. Anyways, Guristas do not have Omni damage incoming. Instead, they are, I think, over 4/5 kinetic, and then a little bit of thermal as well. So if we look at the Ishtar's just base stats, we already have great resists, right? The T2 Glentehel resists. So we don't really need to do very much to be able to cheese tank the Guristas. Let's see the fit I'm currently using. So I don't have an AB, I only have a large shield booster, and you can see that I'm basically just relying on the hull resists, as well as one more kinetic shield reinforcer to really go in. That's only giving me 5%, 4% more resists, but when you're up at this level, this is almost like a quarter more of the DPS, 4 of 13, right? A third, a fourth of the DPS getting mitigated just by this one mod. Anyway, so my drones move really fast, they track, I still have 4 DDAs, and you'll also notice I have salvagers, and that's because we want to be salvaging as we rat. You can see this fit is called Rat and Salvage Kinetic Ishtar. Very prudent. I can show it to you here as well. So we have 3 salvagers in the highs, an auto-targeting system for more locking and to try and grab aggro. And then drones move really fast, track well, and we're going to be using wasps because Guristas do kinetic damage, and they also are weak to kinetic. And then we have mobile tractor units that are going to suck in the wrecks so that we can salvage them without having to burn around or use tractor beams or anything. Not having an AB on the fit means that we can just orbit this mobile tractor unit really close, and we'll be able to salvage, we'll be in range of salvaging. This fit can basically tank Guristas just sitting still, even in the hardest sites, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually tested that. Maybe we'll test it today. But yeah, that's the fit, and we're going to be getting salvage and loot that we can reprocess into minerals to use for our industry. Alright, so let's take a look at the different types of sites we have in Gurista space. What we're going to want to be doing is the Gurista Havens. So the Sanctums are 1 level higher, but these cause the drones to spawn it, not the drones. Come on, Sophia, we're not in drone land space, we're in Gurista space. This causes the rats to spawn in at really far away ranges, like 50 kilometers all around the grid. So it's going to be a pain for our mobile tractor unit to pull them in that far, and we'll get behind on salvaging. So instead we're going to be doing havens, and even within havens, we still want to be doing one that has the Stargate in it. There's another type as well, I don't really know the names. But we're going to be looking for the Stargate so that they spawn really, really close to us, and we can kill them and salvage them really rapidly. So to tell if a haven is a Stargate or not, we just have to initiate warp to it, and then we'll get a pop-up saying there's a Stargate if there's a Stargate. Alright, so let's see if anyone is in this anomaly here. Huh. Proteus and an Ishtar. Let's not go there. What about this one? Alright, so we'll try warping here. Control space to stop, wait for a pop-up. There was no pop-up. Let's ignore that one. What about this guy here? Control space to stop. Hey, there we go, Stargate. So we're going to be warping to Gulf Charlie Yankee. And that's where we're going to be doing our ratting. And I'll turn on my shield booster. We are cap stable, and the Gurista rats aren't going to nude us or anything. So the plan is we're going to get there, we're going to drop our MTU, and we're going to start killing. Now, here's the Stargate where the rats are actually going to spawn in. So I'm actually going to move in even closer, just so that I'm as close to possible where they spawn. Again, I'm not worried about speed tanking at all here, really. I will orbit to mitigate a little bit of damage, but it's really not necessary. So I want to get in nice and close. And because I'm so close, and because I have my auto-targeting system, the rats are never going to target my drones. They're always going to be going for me. I've never had any problems with them switching aggro. And here they are. Go get them, drones. Okay, MTU going out. And I definitely want to bookmark it. Perfect. Alright, so we do actually, I'm just going to sit still here so you can see that my tank's holding perfectly fine with this few number of rats on grid. We do want to try and kill the cruisers and frigates first. The frigates will scram and web. We're not worried about the webs, but if we get tackled and a nuke comes into system, then we want to be able to get off. And the cruisers will ECM you, which means that, again, not really a problem with drones for applying damage or surviving at all, but you do want to clear them so that you can target wrecks for salvaging. So as I'm sitting here, my drones are doing their thing. I'm also going to be salvaging wrecks as they come in. And this is pretty much it. So you can see my tank's holding fine. I will orbit the MTU here, just at 1500. I mean, it'll help a little bit. Not that I need it. When there's like later waves, more drones come in, more rats come in, and I guess your tank might start breaking depending on how many spawn and what your skill levels are. But yeah, this is basically collecting salvage and ratting in Guristas space. Again, it's not any more interesting than doing it in drones, or it's just more involved, right? So we're salvaging. There's a lot more going on. I'm orbiting. Things are coming in. You can see I'm building up salvage inside my Ishtar as my salvagers work through wrecks. And in my mobile tractor unit, I am picking up loot. Objects that the rats are dropping. And these can get pretty big, like this is 50 meters cubed here. And hauling it around is a pain, even though it's like worth a fair amount here, at least according to my inventory pricing estimates. What I'm going to do later, though, is reprocess all of these into minerals, because I don't want to be bothered with trying to ship them and sell them. I mean, there's probably buyback programs, but I want the minerals so that I can build things with my few blueprints and other industry stuff. Alright, while this is going on, let's also take a look at some of the other stuff I have set up in 9P40. In my ratting pocket, Geminate spot. So if you look at the ships I have, I've got a Hawk here, and this is for doing abyssals. So going into the abyss. If I ever feel like doing that, I just have a nice little quiet area with some deep save bookmarks where I can do it in peace. I have Exploration frigate for scanning down wormholes if there's any in system, or if relic sites pop up. You do get relic sites in Geminate space, or data sites, and I can do that. Hull roll in case I want to bring a Loki into like a C3 or something and try and get some hull control there. And then other ships. Oh, for my PI, I have an Epithal. My Cryos for all of the minerals I'm going to get from reprocessing. And then I use this, I don't even know what ship this is, the main Glente one. Oh, Iteron. An Iteron Mark V, I think it's called, for picking up my MTUs and loot after I do a ratting session. So I do have several MTUs, and I'll leave them in space as I go around and do, let's say, 3 havens, and then collect them all after I'm done my session, along with all of the loot. And then for PI, I don't want to actually show you my setup. It's probably pretty embarrassing. Let's see, how do you even find PI? Here we go. Yeah, so I only have one setup right now. It's doing T2 something. What am I building here? Oh, I think I'm building construction blocks because you use those for ships sometimes, I think. I'm not sure. Again, not an industry mogul here. But this is like really lazy PI. I just have it all on one planet, and it takes ages to, like, you can pull in resources way faster than you can turn them into T2. So right now it's like I'm not extracting anything. I'm just ever so slowly converting stuff into T2, PI, and then like twice a month I'll go pick it up and turn these back on for like a couple days. Not trying to make money again, just exploring PI, and maybe people need construction blocks in MJTAC and I can provide them, you know? All right, we can see now, are we getting scrammed or webbed? Nope. Okay, well we have a lot of wrecks here. We want to try and stay on top of these. So we'll start salvaging all of those. I do have salvage drones as well, but that's just for at the end if I get way behind and then I have things scattered around. I like to move these down a level. And when you're salvaging too, if you have multiple wrecks in range, you want to spread out your salvagers. So that way you're not doing the same work on the same one. Ooh, that didn't really make sense. But I'll show you here on this one once these two finish off. If you put 3 salvagers on the same wreck, and the first one succeeds, then the other 2 are just sort of wasted, right? I mean, if there's nothing else in range, you might as well. But if you have multiple wrecks in range, you want to spread out your salvagers. Let's just wait for this one to finish, and then I'll demonstrate. There we go. All right, so I'm going to put all 3 salvagers on this wreck, and we'll see if this one gets it or not. So we can watch down here at my salvagers. They're all active at the moment. All right, so this one succeeded on the first salvage, so these 2 were just kind of redundant and didn't actually do anything. So now there's only 1 wreck in range, so I might as well put all 3 on them, even though, I mean, otherwise these 2 are just doing nothing. And then we'll watch again. All right, so none of them succeeded that time. If this one fails and this one succeeds, like the first one fails and the second one succeeds, maybe we'll see that here. Nope. Then this one will go on an extra cycle because it finished, didn't succeed, started again, and then this one actually succeeded, but this one then still has to do a full cycle. Yikes, is this like a mass special wreck or something? There you go. So you saw this one failed and restarted, this one failed and restarted, this one succeeded, so now these 2 are just doing nothing. Anywho, let's wait for the next wave to spawn, and we'll see if we actually get scrammed and webbed by these frigates, which should happen. Come on, frigates. The frigates lock really quickly, so my drones are already on the frigate. There we go. So we're getting warp disrupted. So if a nuke came into system right now, I wouldn't be able to warp off. So that's why we want to kill the frigates first, even though we're not actually in danger of dying at all here. So we'll make sure our drones are on the right rats to start. Another nice thing about not having the AB is you can orbit so closely on your mobile tractor unit that if a nuke does come into system, you can actually scoop it before you run away, which is nice. They can't even have an opportunity to kill your MTU. One last thing I want to show you here, or not last thing, but one other thing about rats, is that Guristas have pretty significant shield boosters. So you can see this one, which my drones put a lot of work into, is already bumping itself back up. So you do want a fair amount of DPS to be able to break through their shield reps, and you want to focus on one rat at a time. Like, if I had just started shooting a different rat after shooting this one, it would have just built its shields all the way back up, and it would have had to go through them again. All right, what I'm going to do now is take a little break and bring you back in on the last wave, where there's a lot more rats, and we'll actually test out my tank and see if I can sit still and tank it, and maybe we'll get to see some of the ECM in action as well. So see you in a second. Alright, so this isn't quite the last wave yet, but I believe these guys are gonna, yeah, there we go, they're trying to ECM me, right? So I have a whole bunch of rogue Gurista wrecks that I want to be salvaging, and if the cruisers get jams off on me, then I'm going to lose target lock on them. So I want to try and kill them first, and my drones are already on it. Good job, drones. Get them. Don't want them jam me. Further to talking about how the Guristas have shield boosters that kind of like make them tankier than rogue drones, I guess. There is sort of, oh, there I got jammed. So I can't be salvaging when I'm jammed by this guy. What a jerk. Alright, further to the rogue drones, the Gurista rats having shield boosters that make them a little bit tankier and more of a pain to deal with compared to rogue drones. There is a balance that is struck, right? So we're using wasps, which have a higher base damage than praetors. So we're getting more damage from our wasps than we would from EM drones, which is handy for killing things faster. So even though they have shield boosters, we're doing more damage. And if we look at the resists of the drone, oh my god, of the Guristas, we can see we're shooting through a little bit of a hole here, right? So their shields are weakest to kinetic, so that's why we're doing kinetic damage to them. The bounties, I don't know if they're more or less. I think what it essentially boils down to is it takes a little bit longer to kill Gurista ships compared to rogue drones. However, or the bounty's a little bit lower potentially. However, then, ooh, there's a tick. So 9 million and a tick, not great. But I'm also getting loot, right? And that sort of like makes up for it. However, it is more intensive. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm salvaging, I'm killing things in order, lots of stuff going on here. But yeah, sorry, as I was saying, so we got 10 million tick there. Apparently the site's taken me more than 20 minutes, is that how that works? But I also have all of this loot, which is worth, I'm only about 2/3 of the way through the site, so maybe I'll have a total of 2 million at the end, in salvage rather. And then in loot, I have almost 5 million, so that'll probably be up to 7 million. So maybe like 10 million in salvage and loot, in addition to the 9 million tick I just got, although that 10 million is taking me longer than a single tick here, it looks like, right? But it's comparable to what you would get in drone lands. It's just I'm having to click things more to make up for that by actually doing the salvaging, and later I'm going to have to actually haul all of this loot back. So it's time that you could spend just shooting rats. In Drone Horde, I'm doing logistics to be able to do a Gurista Haven, essentially. Or at least that's one way of looking at it. Let's just quickly kill this last guy, go get him drones, and then we will, I think it's the last wave after this, and then we'll see if I can tank it, and if not, then I'll bring you back on the final wave. But let's see. Sometimes these battleships do get like 30 kilometers out, and it's a little bit of a pain to pull in their wrecks and send the drones out there, but we do have 2 drone micro warp drive speed rigs, so they get moving pretty quickly. So it's not too bad. And since I'm managing to stay on top of the actual wrecks, there isn't too much, yeah, this is the final wave, I believe. There isn't too much to worry about. All right, so I'm going to stop my ship, and let's see if I can tank it completely stopped. Again, if you are trying to not test your tank, you could be shooting these cruisers first, just in case they want to ECM. But if we look here, I'm having no problems at the moment. Because I'm so close to the battleships, even though I'm not moving, they're moving, so they might be ruining their own tracking a little bit. Maybe it'll pick up once they get to range a little bit more. But I'm hardly bleeding armor here, even though I'm completely still. Let's just watch and see And I'll keep salvaging while I'm at it. I mean, obviously you don't want to stop. You can keep moving. This is just a test. And your skills might differ between... Oh yeah, okay. I didn't get all the way back to full there. I think I'm doing pretty okay, though. Even with all of these rats on me. My drones are still putting in work. Alright, yeah. So I think this test shows that you're not really in any danger of dying if you cheese the kinetic resists. And I'll show you afterwards the maze as well. That's the Gurista 10 out of 10 that you can get. The drone one is a huge pain, right? You can run it in like a T3C or maybe a Praxis people do, I'm not sure. Basically though, you want to sell it on Zulus and somebody else can blitz it in a Marauder and take the shortcut and all that stuff. The maze though, you can easily do in a technically blinged out, but you can easily do it in an Ishtar and it only takes a couple minutes. So yeah, I definitely prefer that as opposed to 2 hours in a Loki painstakingly working through a drone 10 out of 10 or doing the shortcut and still spending like half an hour, 45 minutes to do that. Oh, look at that. Was that a wrecking shot? Uh-oh. Is my tank breaking? Anyways, the maze is much easier to do, and I'll show you it afterwards. I think I have one ready to go. Let's watch my tank. It's kind of breaking. Got to stay on top of salvaging. Okay, so I think I'm still okay, and that my drones are going to take off enough DPS here that I won't break. But good rule of thumb, don't just come to a standstill in the site, and instead keep orbiting at your MTU at like 500 or 1500 or whatever. So you're still in range to salvage, but you're mitigating a little bit of the DPS. If you're worried about it, you can also always bring a hard shell and a blue pill, and then that'll help your reps if you do get in trouble. It's close. If I had taken out these guys, I bet it would be fine too. Rather than letting my drones go for the battleships first. But okay, let me just demonstrate here. If I start orbiting this at 1500, my mobile tractor unit, then immediately my damage just drops. So I'm not really speed tanking it because I don't have a prop mod, but I kind of am at least moving so that the battleships can't track me. And my tank will instantly recover here back up to full. And I've gotten ahead on the wrecks. So once all of these guys are killed, I can just salvage them as they're coming in. And you can see my tank's fine now that I'm actually moving, even though I'm only moving at 200 meters per second. Yeah, so I'll bring you back once this site is done, and I'll show you what I do after completing sites. Alright, so the site just finished. There are a couple of wrecks still on field. Usually there would just be the last battleship wreck coming in, but because I let the drones do their own thing when I was testing my tank there was cruisers at the end, and I can kill those pretty quickly, so the MTU fell a little bit behind. Regardless, if we take a quick look at how long that site took, I got the 10 million tick at 1431, so that would have been 1411. So it took me exactly half an hour to finish one drone haven. So that would be 15 million in bounties, roughly, and then 15 million in half an hour plus 2 million, 17 million, plus 10 million. Ooh, this I don't actually want to reprocess, so we'll ignore that for now. So plus 7 million, so 25 million in half an hour or so, I guess. So 50 million an hour, which is a little bit lower than, oh, and then of course the ESS, which we'll pay out later. So 50 million an hour plus ESS bonuses. I like to treat those as bonuses because you never know if it's going to get stolen when calculating things. And I think in drone lands you could probably make 60 million IST per hour. I don't know. It's comparable, right? Comparable is the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, so the site's done, and I just have to salvage these last few wrecks. Oh, I thought that one was 25 kilometers away. Probably don't need drones for this, but it might speed things up a little bit. All the salvaging power. Just recall my drones here. Perfect. Okay, so I have my MTU bookmarked, which was the first thing I did. And what I would do now is I would go out to the next Gurista Haven and do the same thing until I ran out of mobile tractor units. But I don't really feel like ratting, so I'm just going to show you what I would do at the end of a session. And that is head to back to my station and grab my Iteron or whatever hauler you're using, and then come and grab all the loot. And like usually I would warp around and pick up all my mobile tractors units and all of my loot. This time it's just one, but I think you can figure out the concept there. I'm based out of this Athenor because it has refining facilities. And as I said, I don't want to be dealing with big bulky loot for the most part, so I'm just going to refine it all. So first things first, what I do is I take all of my salvage. So that's what's currently in here. And it's going to go into just the main hold of my cryos, because it's going to be what I use to pull all my minerals and all of my salvage. Plus you can see I have some Abyss stuff here to MJ deck. So that goes in here. Beautiful. And then I'm going to hop in my Iteron. If you try and pick up the MTU and all of the loot in your Ishtar, it's probably not going to fit. So it's nice to leave it out in space and save time, and then just go collect it all at the end of your session, which is what I'm doing here. I feel like this Iteron fit might not be the most... let's see what it looks like. Yeah, not the greatest fit with that 3 empty mids. But I mean, obviously I just want quick align and a little bit of cargo space, MWD cloak trick, void bubbles. I mean, I probably should. I do use this on occasion, so I probably should fit it, but whatever. I'm not bothered by it. Alright, we're landing, and we're going to pick up our MTU here. Obviously, you want to loot it before you scoop it, because otherwise the can spawn like 5 kilometers away or something. And then you gotta boat over. Thank you for that warning. Alright, so all this is going in the Iteron, and then we are scooping. Perfect. And then we can delete this. The site's already gone. And back we go. I mean, just a tiny thing there. You'll notice I'm warping to a deep tether bookmark rather than warping just to the Athenor. I mean, it's one of those things that you just get in the habit of doing, so then you don't get bumped off or randomly land 2 kilometers outside of tether and get locked up. Okay, come on, Iteron, you can do it. For someone who flies like hyperdictors and scepters almost exclusively, flying these ships is such a pain. Yikes. All right. So now, as I said, I don't want to have to deal with all of this loot. The MTU, I will make sure I don't accidentally reprocess. That goes back in the Ishtar. And then what was the other one? Gold tags? Platinum tags? Why is gold worth more than platinum? I really don't know what these are. Someone's probably going to be shouting at me that I'm about to, like, waste a lot of money by reprocessing all of this. But I just can't be arsed, as they would say in the UK. Alright, is there anything valuable? Yes, I do want this guy, so I don't really have a place for him. You can just go in here, I guess. And then the rest of this, I mean, nothing looks super valuable. Maybe this thing. Can I reprocess this? What do I get from it? Okay, fine. I'll keep this thing as well. 2 things I'll keep. The rest, because that one was small too. The rest is getting reprocessed here. So you can see the estimated value is 6,460,000. Look at this. It's worth even more reprocessed. Amazing. I'm making money and it's costing me almost nothing. My skills in reprocessing are probably not great. Abyssal ore reprocessing. Salvaging 5. Skill at using reprocessing. Okay, yeah. So I don't even have it trained. Okay. That's probably something that you would want to do if you're doing this regularly. Anyways, reprocess. Amazing. And then all of this is going to go into my mineral hold. Look at this. 75 million in minerals without having done any mining. Alright, and then all of this mineral stuff is going to be going to MJTAC eventually. Into, yeah, this spot here. So here you can see I have minerals. I also have some salvage dumped here. And whenever I do relic exploration, I'm getting fancier salvage, right? Not just T1 rat salvage, but actual fancier salvage. And then for building some things, like if I'm building these T2 rigs, I do need like strontium clathorites, and I'm not doing ice mining, so this is just something I have to buy off the market. But yeah, and then this is like industry stuff that I'm doing, and I'm fueling it with ratting, salvage, and loot. All right, and that's basically it. So if you find that more interesting than rogue drone ratting, then give it a try. You can get nicely set up with all your different activities in a nice little spot to get to know the locals. I'm only a couple jumps from MJ. I think this is ESI gated space, so you wouldn't be able to do it here if you were ESI gated, but there's other places in Geminate where you can set up. Yeah, it's more involved. There's more clicking, there's more hauling, there's more logistics, but I find it more interesting than just plain Ishtar spinning rogue drones. And again, I don't do it very often, even though I'm doing this video on it and sort of have this set up. I'm usually not here. It's just like a couple of times a month I'll come over and do some stuff. But that's basically it for the main stuff. Let me show you, ooh, that tick was less, but I guess because I wasn't ratting at the end there. Let me show you a maze now and how you can run that 10 out of 10. Obviously you can sell it on Zulus, but it's easy to run in an Ishtar. So I'll be right back at a maze. Alright, so the Gurista 10 out of 10 escalation is called the maze. With respect to rewards compared to the drone 10 out of 10, the Guristas, you can just get a minimum of like 120 million, but depending on the actual drops, you might get up to like over 1 billion in rewards. So there's a lot more variability compared to the drones 10 out of 10, where you're basically getting 350 to 450 million every time, no matter what, consistently. I really do like the maze a lot more though, just because of how much faster it is to run, how much easier it is to blitz, and that you can do it in an Ishtar instead of having to get into a T3C. Depending how far away the escalation spawns, it can be harder to travel in an Ishtar. And this is a pretty blinged out Ishtar, where we are super cheesing the resists. Like, you thought I was cheesing the resist before, wait till you see this fit. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. 97% kinetic resists. That's a lot, and it's necessary. So if we take a look here, we have Dead Space mods in our mids. So we have 2 Pithx type kinetic shield hardeners, 1 thermal, and then a Pithx large shield booster. And it's pretty expensive, as you can see, $500 million. This is not something you want to cheap out on, though. Although it is, I'm not lying when I say it's easy and simple, but it's very committal. Like, we are just going to be going in, getting absolutely tackled by hundreds of rats, and taking huge amounts of incoming kinetic damage, which we're reducing by 97%, which is nice. But if you chintz out on these, or try and sort of like fit cheaper ones, I mean, you're playing with fire, because there's no getting out. This isn't like an afterburning Loki or Tengu, where you can pull range and load long range missiles and sort of like kite out the rats, killing the small stuff, and then coming in and escaping. We are full 100% committed, no getting out, base tank. It's all going to be on top of us. So it's not something you want to try and get one past them on. If we take a look at some of the other stuff here, these smart bombs are going to be used in the final room to draw aggro and to clear off about 200 tackle frigates / webifying towers. We definitely want to be cap stable, although we don't have to worry about nuding again. And we don't have any sort of speed mods. We're going to be webbed down. We're barely going to be moving. If you look at our drones, we do need our wasps for the final room where we kill the final thing, and the DPS for that. But most of the time we're going to be using hornets to clear off tackle that's pointing us and preventing us from taking gates. So you want to bring a lot of these, because if the rats will switch to your drones very quickly, and with all of the webs, it'll be very hard to get your drones back. So you should expect to lose a couple hornets, unless you're really on the ball. And I'm also going to mark this group as favorite, because I'm going to be doing lots of launching and recalling. But other than that, what else? Just cap stability. The rest going into damage. This is all cap stability. And then this is the expensive part right here. Alright, what to expect when we go in. The maze basically is going to have lots and lots of stargates facing in lots and lots of directions. And if you ever take the wrong one, it takes you back to the start. And there's maybe like 4 rooms, I think, where you have to pick the right stargate. Now, there's a couple different ways of knowing which one to pick. I think the easiest is to use the directional variation. I don't know what you call it. So here we can see our yellow line on our tactical overlay, which is telling us where galactic north is. So this is going to be our 12 o'clock position, and not very subtly, if anyone descans me down, I've actually named my ship Ishtar Maze, and then these are the directions that you have to go in each of the rooms. So the first Stargate we're going to be looking for is the 4 o'clock one. So instead of with Galactic North, we're going to be looking for a Stargate facing in this direction. And then in the next room, we're going to be looking for one facing 8 o'clock in this direction, and then high noon, and then 9 o'clock, and then we'll get into the final room. Yeah. So let's do it. I'm just going to make sure I have everything fit. As I said, it's all or nothing. We're not getting out once we go in. I do have a blue pill and hard shell in case I get into trouble, and some nanite so I can repair. I have my drones. 16 hornets should be enough. Backup wasps for the final room. Alright, I think we're good. Let's just turn all of this on. And we shall warp to our maze. think if you get lucky and the rats don't point you very much, then you can basically do this in just like 10 minutes, as opposed to like at least 40 minutes for the drones one. So that part of it is pretty nice. As I said, really the only downside is trying to travel in a blinged out Ishtar. So what I actually do is have a refit with sort of more combat oriented stuff and travel stuff, and then I bring my blingy mods over in like Instorp Nullified Scepter if I'm traveling far. In this case I didn't have to because it was very close to home, but sometimes if you have to travel farther or into other hostile space or neutral space, then you don't want to be doing so in Ishtar. Alright, here we go. So, if we take a look at our ship's name, the first gate we're going to be looking for is at 4 o'clock. With Galactic North, 4 o'clock. So in this direction. Oh, look at all the gates. Alright, so do we see a 4 o'clock gate? I'm guessing it's this one here, right? So let's head towards it. And we'll also start getting webbed down and tackled. So if we take a look here, our speed is going to be dropping way, way, way down. And what we need to do before we can take this gate is kill anything that is pointing us. You will notice we're taking a lot of incoming damage, but our tank is holding perfectly fine thanks to our blinged reps and bling resists. Okay, so we'll find out who's pointing us here. We want to get rid of them. We might kill the ones that are webbing us to get a little bit faster towards the gate. However, it's also nice to try and leave rats on grid if you can, because ideally we're never going to come back to this room. And if somebody does come into local, combat scans us down, and tries to come kill us, if they have to fight all of these rats, then that's good for me. It slows them down. Alright, so we're going to launch our hornets, try and kill this guy, and then immediately recall them. So I'm using Shift F for that, and engaging. And I'm just ready to recall them. Once these start flashing yellow, it's probably already too late. Oh, get back, get back, get back, get back. Did you see that? I've already almost lost one. And I didn't even get to kill this guy. Alright, let's try it again. They're all back on me. Kill him. Quick, quick, quick. And then recall. Nice. Didn't lose any. But now someone else has us pointed. Oh, 3 of them. Okay, good. Let's lock them all up. And then as we're extreme slow boating, because we're webbed by 3 as well, we can start killing these ones that are pointing us. As you can tell, drones aren't the best weapon system for escalations in general because of how easily they can get killed off and how fast aggro will switch to them. However, if we ever get jammed by Guristas, which I'm not sure if they do that in the maze or not, but they do it in general, then drones are good, kind of. Although we still have to target who we want to target. Anyways, the Ishtar uses drones, and the Ishtar has the great resist, so we're using drones. I could be bouncing off a gate here, I'm not. Alright, so if we were in range of the Stargate right now, we could try and take it and sneak out. You can see they all switched to my drones there, but I got him back in time. And I'm pointed again by 3 of them. This first room is probably the most getting pointed-ish room, but I'm not webbed at the moment, which is nice, so I'm getting in range of this gate. I just have to kill off the tackle. Get him. And recall. I think you could probably go for 2 if you were daring, but I'm just going for 1 at a time so that I am bouncing off the gate now. These smart bombs are not going to be useful. Like, they would be great to kill all this light tackle on me. However, you can't activate them so close to acceleration gates. Like, you'll just get this warning. You're too close to a gate. Okay, so now I'm in range to take this gate. I just have to kill this last guy, and I'm going to Q click to align down it, so that the moment I kill him, I can pull my drones and then take the gate. No. They're switching. Oh, you need it back. I didn't quite kill him, though. No, they're still aggroed. Okay, now go. No. It's almost like you're doing, instead of like F1, F2 stuff, you're just doing Shift F, Shift R to like pull your drones in. Okay, there. Take it. Oh, tackle again. Almost made it out. Okay, now I'm too far from this gate as well. Anyways, you get the idea of what doing a maze looks like now. This is basically every room until the final room. I think I'll show you the whole thing though, because it shouldn't take too long. And we might be able to sneak through some rooms without actually getting stopped by the rats at all. And are we off? Are we bumping? Nice. All right. Room 1 down. So that was the 4 o'clock acceleration gate. And then in between all of the actual rooms with rats, there's like these rest rooms, I guess you could call them. Okay, so the next room we're looking for the 8 o'clock Stargate. So again, that's going to be 9 o'clock, just south of that. And I think this one usually sticks out pretty far to the left. Yes, so we want this one here. So ideally, we can just quickly take this before anybody tackles us. We're tackled and webbed. So same deal as before. Lock up the ones that are pointing us. Launch drones, kill them, pull drones. I mean, I guess you probably could, if you wanted to, actually like clear out all the rats in here and get all of the bounties and maybe even salvage it. But I feel like that's not something you want to be doing in such an expensive ship, right? You want to minimize the amount of time that you're spending in your blingy ships because you never know what's going to happen. So we're just using the fancy Ishtar to quickly get the expensive loot at the end, and then we'll go back to our nice cheap Ishtar for general haven ratting if so desired. Are we bouncing again? No, we're just moving at 10 meters per second because we're webbed down so much. I guess I can try and kill some of these web drones to pick up speed a little bit. For this gate. Oh, we're actually pretty close to it. Although, again, we're hardly moving. Yeah, see, if you'd gone for 2 there. Oh, okay, he made it back. And now the drone. Oh, I was going to say now the. Krabina's in local. I was going to say now the rats were, when they were targeting my drones, I wasn't getting webbed for a second there. So I was making it closer to this gate. Okay, so just kill this guy, and then we're out of here. Oh, 2 in local. So you can hear me clicking right now. I have my D-scan bound to a mouse button. So I'm looking for combat probes. Alright, so they seem to be leaving me alone, which is nice. And I'm now deeper into the maze as well. So unless they have a recon ship that I'm not going to see on D-scan, then I should be pretty safe here. And I will have to see probes, because they'll have to scan me down. So as long as I'm spanning this constantly, even if they get like a perfect D-scan to position, to get my position, and then drop 1 scan probes on me, like just drop probes on me for 1 sec, as long as I'm constantly checking D-scan, I'll still catch that. Alright, we're to the 3rd room, which is noon. So there's our north, and we want to take this gate here, And we might already be in range of it. Yes. So as long as we don't get tackled here. Hey, skip the entire room. So this is why I can go so quickly, right? Also, if people who are chasing you into the maze don't know the correct route, then in addition to being slowed down by all of the rats, they might also take the wrong gate and end up back at the start. Okay, so that was the 12 o'clock gate, and now we're taking the 9 o'clock gate. Again, make sure we have Galactic North to the up. 9 o'clock is this gate here. And can we get through without getting tackled? We can. Perfect. All right. So now we've done all of the gates and we're heading into the final room. So the final room is where we're going to activate our smart bombs to draw aggro. And then we're just going to put our DPS drones on the final structure. Like we're basically, oh, and we're safe now. We're basically done the entire site. It's just a matter of, waiting 2 or 3 minutes for our drones to kill the big boss. So we are basically all set. On Warpin, there's going to be a bunch of webbing towers and other things. What we want to do is orbit this beacon at, let's say, 1,000. I'm not sure the exact distance. And then we're going to stagger our smart bombs. We're still capped stable. And the thing we want to shoot is this giant structure here. The Gurista Fleet Stronghold. I'm just going to wait a couple seconds for all the drone aggro to come onto me. And that should be good. And then we're going to launch our wasps, our heavy drones, and send them to the Gurista Fleet Stronghold. And with the smart bombs running, I'm still calling them drones. The Gurista rats are going to be more interested in me than in my drones. So my drones can go shoot this thing, and I'm barely moving here at all, but I'm smart bombing and doing some damage. So if you look at these towers, these are webifying towers, and you can see that my smart bombs are doing work. And this one's a little bit out of range. Maybe I should have orbited tighter. But once I kill these guys, then it'll get into range. I'm also using just the meta smart bombs, so if you wanted to, you could fit better smart bombs. I don't know why you would do that though, because the meta ones work perfectly fine. And you can see all of these frigates coming in. They're all going to be coming into smart bomb range and getting killed. So if we just lock a couple up, we can see that in action. Just slowly taking damage. And one of them already died, so I couldn't even lock him up. More waves of rats do spawn in as you take down the stronghold. So if you were trying to do this with missiles and like a T3C with an afterburner, you'd be staying well outside of the range of the web. Like you'd have to burn out quickly. Another Newton local? Who are these people? Alright, whatever. You'd have to burn out of range of the webs quickly to keep your speed up, and then this thing I think also webs the Gurista Fleet Stronghold. But again, we're doing this sort of like the easy mode, and this is why it's so nice. Like, I didn't actually use any piloting skill there, right? I manually piloted around a gate, and then besides that, all I was doing was launching drones and pulling drones to kill the things that had me pointed. Very straightforward. Three of them, they're probably hunting me, but they can't find me. Alright, and then yeah, so the smart bombs are going to clear off all the tackles, so hopefully once this stronghold goes down from my heavy drones, I'm going to bookmark the can that drops. That's going to have all of our loot in it. Then I'm going to warp off, wait a couple minutes until the site despawns, warp back in, grab my loot, and I'm done. And we'll see what I get. If I'm still tackled at the end after the stronghold's destroyed, I can pull my heavy drones back and then start launching hornets and doing the same thing to clear the tackle off of me. And And yeah, so you can see other things sometimes when they first spawn in, they switch over to my drones, but then they quickly notice that I'm smart bombing their friends. Look at this nice pile of wrecks here. And they switch aggro onto me. And now I'm no longer tackled, and there's actually no frigates. Oh, I guess there's a couple that are burning in. So I think that I might be able to get out before they come in and tackle me, depending on how long this takes, or my smart bombs will deal with them. It's like I don't even have to be doing anything right now. Now that there's nobody in local, I just have my hands off my mouse and keyboard. I'm just waiting for the stronghold to die, letting my smart bombs do their thing. It's a very, very solid strat. And again, the only real issue with it is I'm investing 200 million in the Ishtar hull, and then another 300 to 400 million in these Dead Space mods, right? And then again, if you try and bring cheaper ones and this starts going down, it's hard to get off, as you saw how tackled I was in the middle of the maze. Okay, so this is about to go down, and I'm looking for the canned bookmark it, and then I'm just going to recall my drones. Okay, so here's our cargo container. So we're going to save this. We'll just put it in temp. I'll give it 2 days in case, well, I mean, it's only going to last a couple hours. And now I'm going to start aligning out. I don't want to warp to an Athenor or a station right away because I have aggression from my smart bombs. So I have a safe I'm going to warp to. Drones are back in. This is bookmarked. Warping to a safe. And that's it. Maze complete. I mean, if you can't handle doing that, the only reason that you wouldn't be able to is because of the cost, I guess. Or maybe skills if you aren't as skilled in a... Well, I mean, that's just hull bonuses. So yeah, you can do this even if you don't have that great skills. I mean, I guess you do need cap skills and maybe some resist skills, but in general, like, it's very, very easy to do compared to the drone one. Alright, so I'm just going to sit here for 2 minutes and then go back. One trick you can do is if you try and warp to your cargo container and you get this message, that means that the site hasn't despawned yet. So I just controlled space to stop. So what I'm going to be doing is waiting until I can warp there and there isn't a message, and then I'll be, actually I don't want to be aligned because I want to be able to control space, and then I'll be able to go grab the loot and show you what I got. I'm actually a little bit excited. I haven't done a maze in ages, but I still remember it, and I mean, as long as I name my ship with the instructions, then it's pretty straightforward. The stuff you can get is more Dead Space mods like the ones I used here. You can also get blueprints like the Rattlesnake blueprint, things along those lines. And then you also are guaranteed one of the Overseer things. I don't remember, like an Overseer 23rd something or other. I don't actually know what those are for, but they're worth about 120 million. No, it's still there. Alright, let's try it again. To our cargo container. There we go. So no message this time, which means the site is despawned, and now we're in warp to see what we got. Big money, hopefully. If you had forgotten to bookmark this, then you would have gotten no benefit from the maze. Alright, so we got very poor loot. We got our standard 133 million, 23rd tier Overseers, and then a single PvX EM shield hardener. I mean, that's another 100 million, so not bad. But sometimes you'll get like this and a PvX and a couple other PvX types, maybe a shield booster, maybe a thermal one, and then sometimes you'll get Rattlesnake blueprints, all sorts of stuff, as I said before. So that wasn't the most successful run. I mean, we got 229 million, which, I mean, that's definitely not bad for 10 minutes of work there, right? And if you're buying them off of Zulus or selling them on Zulus, you're probably going to only be able to sell them for 100 million because people, well, maybe you can get 120 or 130, but people are going to be more hesitant because you could get just the Overseer personal effects of 134. But you could also get, oh, I'm just going to quickly go dock up now that this guy's back in system. But you could get a lot more as well, so it's more of a gamble. So you'll notice I'm scanning as I'm warping here to see if I catch this guy on D-scan at all. Gotta get my loot safe. And it is secured. Lovely. Alright, so I'm back home, safe and sound, loot stashed away. Just have to move it to MJ for sale. And I just wanted to finish up by mentioning once more the concept of having a little PvE place of your own and the advantages of it being Gurista rat space. I mean, I've reiterated before already that I don't come here very often, but it is a nice place to retreat to, you know? For PvE activities. I can do a little bit of Gurista ratting, possibly get a maze escalation and make a couple 100 million if I feel like doing that. The Gurista loot and salvage can be reprocessed and put towards some of the industry. I have PI going on if I want to look in on that and see what's happening, either just to sell it for, like, you know, 50 million a month, or if I can actually use it in industry, if I do a bit more research on how everything connects together. It's just, if wormholes spawn in here, I can go exploring in them or do sites. Maybe there's a wormhole right now I could go explore. No wormhole. I have a deep safe for doing abyss type stuff if I feel like doing that. It's just, it's not as efficient as you can be, but it's part of the game as sort of like, I don't know, a little retreat. Did I use the word retreat already? A personal retreat to do PvE. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, consider setting this sort of spot up for yourself in some system and having it be your single player PvE area that you can head off to if you're tired of the rat race and intensity of being in standing fleet and doing PvP all the time. I don't know. I like it. Hopefully it gives you some ideas of how you can enjoy more aspects of EVE and see what else the game has to offer. Alright, I'm done. Hopefully this was inspiring or informative or something. Maybe I could do more of a day in the life type thing and show other activities, but I think the sort of tutorial aspect of it is going to be more helpful, and then people can expand on that however they wish. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you around space, and that's all.